Good afternoon. Welcome to all of you. It's great to have you. Great to be able to talk to so many of you on the topic of online marketplaces and how they evolve in our new age of agentic commerce. Yeah, let's see what the new kid on the block is doing to the old geezer in a way. Yeah. Oh, oops. I'm sorry. I think that was the slide from, I don't know, 2029. If you have been opening your LinkedIn in the last 6 months, or even just wandering these exposition stages, you might have noticed that the industry is a tad dramatic when it comes to agentic commerce. And I mean, I agree, there's a big shift happening, of course, but spoiler alert, I don't fully buy the end of the world as we know it vibe as we are experiencing here and there. So I would like to give you the facts as we have today and look at what is really impacting your business now and in 2027 and give you a bit of an outlook on what might be happening in the future. I don't have a crystal ball with me, so you won't get any wild predictions for me, but some industry insights and some actual figures, as far as I found them. Yeah, so quick words about myself and why you should be listening to me. I'm Ingrid. I have looked at the e-commerce space and looked at all of you building it for the last 15 years as a business journalist. So let's see, I have seen a lot of trends come and go, a lot of buzzwords passing by. I think I witnessed the supposed peak and decline of Amazon for at least 6 times. So I would call myself a bit seasoned when it comes to that. In 2024, me and my great co-founder Valerie founded the Marketplace Universe together, which is a space for all people, all professionals in the marketplace industry in Europe. That should give you an opportunity to understand this very dynamic and very fragmented market of yours a bit better. And we do this with our daily news on LinkedIn, with our podcast, with our newsletter, with our webinars, and also with our live events. Anyone here who has already visited one of our Marketplace Universe Connects? Yeah, of course, Marcus, you have. Thanks. They're always great fun. You should definitely join one of them. Okay, so then let's dive into it, I guess. First of all, I'd like to look at the world as it is today and as it is affecting your business in 2026. Because, to be honest, if you want to meet your goals this year, agentic commerce is not helping you with that. It might help you next year, it might help you in 2028, but not this year. So let's look at the world as it is today. And that one is definitely dominated by marketplaces. Here are some very up-to-date figures. They are this up-to-date that this morning just they were presented by Friedrich Schwand of the ECDB, and I updated the figures or the numbers in these charts just an hour ago. I didn't have the time to update the graphics itself, so excuse me for that, but I will update those later on. And if you want the slides later, you can just ping me on LinkedIn and I will send you the updated version for this. But the figures are correct, and they say that in 2025, 83% of the global e-commerce turnover was generated on marketplaces. 83%. That is a really big number. And the number in Europe is also very big. It now amounts to a marketplace share of 53%. And if you look at particular markets, for example, Germany, this will show you a similar picture. These are figures from the BFH published in December 2025. And there you can see that in Germany, the marketplace share of e-commerce turnover lay in 2025 at 56%. And the other interesting figure here in this chart is the growth rates, because online marketplaces were actually the only channel in Germany that were really growing by around about 5%, while the rest was stagnating or even declining. And the same is true if we look at cross-border sales. So a customer buying from a company in another country. These are figures from cross-border e-commerce from Brussels, also really up to date. They were published in October 2025. And here you can see in Europe we have a turnover of cross-border turnover of 356 billion euro, plus 9% from last year. And 70% of that was generated on online marketplaces. So in last year, there was no way around marketplaces if you were active anywhere in the e-commerce space. And now you may ask, okay, that was last year. What about this year? Of course, we don't have any actual figures on that, but I did include at least one prognosis, which is also from ECDB, because I do rather trust their database. And that one will show you that in 2026, the trend is just going on as we have seen in the last years. The e-commerce share of marketplaces will rise to then 87%. This is their prognosis. So, doesn't look like a dead man walking to me. But the problem is that because the marketplaces have been so dominant over the last 5 to 10 years, I would say, the market has become very, very diversified. At the moment, we are looking just in Europe at around about 200 platforms. And of course, none of you can be active on 200 platforms at the same time. This is just not possible. So the most important questions that most marketplace managers have to answer sooner or later is, which are the most relevant platforms for me, for my products, for my category? And because this was an answer that was brought to us from our community over and over again, my co-founder and me, we thought about, okay, what we can do about this? Can we offer a solution? And this is when we came up with our marketplace quadrants. Has any one of you already seen those quadrants somewhere on LinkedIn or used them maybe? Some, not hard to see, but oh, very little actually. Okay, that's new, but no problem. I will just explain what they are, because they are basically info charts that we put together in the manner of a magic quadrant. We have two axes, one that divides the chart between everything marketplace and specialized marketplace, and one that divides it between budget and luxury segment. So, and then on this chart, we put the logos of all the marketplaces that we deem most relevant for this category. We do this by looking at a variety of sources, ECDB, of course, but also other market researchers, press releases, company interviews, but also, and that is really important for us, a lot of input from our community, because whenever we post one of those quadrants, we get a lot of feedback from brands and retailers reading us and telling us, okay, you've missed one of those, or you should maybe place this platform a bit more to the left, or things like this. And we also always include this in the next version, so the next version of each quadrant has a more, is closer to the truth in a way. As I don't have time to go, we have a lot of quadrants already. I don't have time to go through all of them. So, but I want to show you a few of them so that you can get an idea how to use them and why they might be useful for your business. Let's do this democratically. We are looking for the categories with the most people here. So, who's here from fashion? Any fashion people around? One, okay. Who is here from electronics? Okay, a bit more. Home and living. Oh, right, okay. DIY and garden. Okay, not too many. And beauty and care. Okay, then I guess we'll go for fashion, the home and living, and DIY. Okay, so that's what the quadrants look like. Yeah, all of them are built like this. If you look at the lower end of our chart, you can see the generalist marketplaces that are very relevant for fashion products, fashion and shoes. Of course, you see names here like Amazon, like Bull, like Otto, and also a bit more to the left, eBay or Allegro. And if you move up the chart, you find the specialists. You find a Zalando, an ASOS, you find a Yoox, but also a Shein in the budget area, or a Farfetch in the luxury area. The idea is here, this is not a ranking. This is a landscape that gives you an idea, okay, these are the platforms that I should consider if I sell products in this category. They are not the end of your research because, again, around about 60, I think, marketplaces are at the moment on this chart. These are too many for most of you, yeah? But they should give you an idea on where to start your research and how to look at your market and go like, okay, my products are more in the budget area, more in the premium area, so I might look at these platforms here. This is how they work. We update those once a year. There might be a big update coming this year, but more on that later. Now, to give you an idea how diverse our marketplace industry is, let's look for a change. What did I say? I think home and living. Let's look at the home and living one. That one looks different, doesn't it? First of all, it has fewer marketplaces on it because the whole category as a whole is newer in sense of marketplace readiness, marketplace adoption. So they have less year on the marketplace chart. So there are less platforms that are offering these products, and there is more variety when it comes down to the country level, actually. So again, but the same logic applies here as for fashion. You look for the generalists in the lower side and for the specialists in the upper side. Yeah, and then what did I say? Let's look at DIY. Just because this is an interesting market to look at. This is one of the newest industries that adopted the marketplace scale for them. So here we have a lot of platforms that are have just started out, I think, a year or two ago. Maybe, for example, Obi or Bauhaus. B&Q is also fairly new. So there's lots of interesting players here that have just started out as marketplaces because the whole industry has just discovered e-commerce as a concept because of Corona, basically. So, okay, so these are, the idea that I wanted to give you. So it is possible to navigate this huge opportunities that the marketplace landscape offer you, but it is daunting to look at the variety and choose the right ones. You can find all of our quadrants on our website, by the way. We did some for fashion and shoes, sports, baby and kids, beauty and care, home and living, electronics, DIY and garden, jewelry and watches, and also FMCG, quite a fairly new one. And we also did some country quadrants where we look at the marketplace landscape of a particular country, which might be relevant to you if you are looking to expand to France or looking to expand to the UK, and then are looking for the right platforms to help you do that. These are the countries that we did those for. You can also look them up at our website. Here, let me make it easier for you. You can just get the QR code and then you will find the page where everything is on. So, yeah, that is the landscape as it is today. As I said, hugely important, over 200 platforms. So difficult to navigate, full of opportunities as well. And now let's look at the future and see if this whole phenomenon of marketplaces is actually under pressure. I did a lot of research for this talk, and it was really, really hard to keep track of everything that's happening. These are just some of the headlines that were popping into my inbox when I was looking for information on agentic commerce and how it might affect the marketplace industry. These are just from December and January, and I handed in my talk, I think 2 weeks ago, and it's already outdated. Yeah, things are happening very, very fast. It's really hard to keep track. Don't even get me started on OpenClaw. So let's see, what are we here? Are we back to this one? Netflix swipes again. The problem here is all of this agentic discussion is really great for, an evening with a nice glass of wine and a debate with your business friends, but how will it affect your business? And this is the open question. So I've been looking for hard data to help answer this question. And the problem is there is not much. That's what I found. Yeah, this is the data from the US market at the moment, from some consultancy companies like Morgan Stanley and Bain. And they tell us that in the US, around about 72% of US consumers have already used AI tools, and about 23% of them have already made purchases with the help of AI. So to clarify this doesn't mean that the AI actually bought things for them. It means that the consumers might have been looking for information on a product and used ChatGPT for some help, or made some comparisons with the help of Perplexity or things like this, and all of that goes into those 23%. There are some forecasts, of course. Again, if you look at the forecast by Morgan Stanley, they think that by 2030, around about 190 to 385 billion US dollars, that would be about 10 to 20% of the e-commerce market in the US, could move over to agentic commerce. That is quite a number. It's not the end of everything as we know it. If you look at the forecast by Bain, they're a bit more optimistic. They go for 15 to 25% by 2030. And then there's this. I had to put that one in. That is from the BFH. And I find it somehow comforting that even in the times of agentic commerce, you can always rely on German Angst. Because they asked German consumers, would you let an artificial intelligence buy and pay for you? And over 90% of the German consumers said resoundingly no. Well, so what does that mean? All chill? No panic? Well, it's not that simple either, I think, because there are things on the move. There's a lot of things on the move. I just remember to all these nice headlines that I gave you. And what is on the move? From what I have seen and from what I've read, I think we can identify around about 3 strategies on which companies are trying to win the race for the agentic crown, so to speak. There is one, the catalog gatekeeper. Here the idea is that the companies following their strategy want to control the product universe. So catalog and attributes and rankings and buy box logic, all these general stuff that we know from retail. And we have, in this corner, we have Amazon and also eBay, who have closed their doors to agentic agents. At the moment, agentic agents like ChatGPT cannot enter the Amazon product universe and scrape the data and or even give you information or recommendations on products that you can buy on Amazon. It's not possible. And the same is now true for eBay at the moment. Then you have the shopping intent gatekeepers. Those are the OpenAIs and Perplexities of this world. They want to own the customer decision moment. So it doesn't really, they don't really care about where a product is bought, but the consumer should come to them to make this decision. So that's what they are going for. And then there's, in the other corner, we have the protocol or infrastructure gatekeepers. And they like to define how commerce systems talk to each other in the future. So this is Google, for example, yeah, with the Universal Commerce Protocol. There's Shopify or Stripe or Miracle. All of them are looking for a technical control. So who will win this agentic race? Anyone's guess, I think. The situation is even more interesting because we are in a very unique position at the moment. And the situation that I'm describing is the disruptor, to be successful, needs the disruptee. So agentic commerce, if they want to be successful, is my thesis, need what retail and what marketplaces, what all of you have at the moment. Let me go into a bit more detail on this. Agentic commerce on its own is a bit like, credit to everyone who gets this little Captain Future reference here, but they are a brain without a body, basically. Yeah, they know what the consumer wants, and they know how they can give him information on to get to the decision that they want to have, but they cannot follow through if they don't get the information that all of you, all the marketplaces, all the online retailers have, which is the hard data on the product itself. Good, structured, reliable product data is what an agentic agent needs to give you a good advice. If they don't get that, they can't give you good advice. And apart from that, and so they need the product descriptions, they need the photographs, they need the filterable data, they need the product reviews as well, by the way. And they need to get to that. And it's going to be anyone's guess how they make it, or if a walled garden policy like Amazon is doing at the moment will be successful in the end. That's the one thing they need. The other thing they need is boots on the ground. The infrastructure, trucks, logistics, returns, customer service, all that messy business that happens after someone pressed on buy. Again, if that is not something that the AIs can access in any way or partner to access, they won't be successful. So that's why I say, because after all, who has the most structured data at the moment? Who has the most structured, most reliable data at the moment? That's mostly marketplaces. Of course, there are some very good retailers out there, but marketplaces have been specializing on structuring their data for the last 10 years. So I would say, to be successful, agentic will need marketplaces. But let's come back to what I said before about 200 platforms in Europe. Does agentic need 200 platforms and their data information to be successful? I think not. So I think what we will see, and what is already starting, is that agentic is raising the bar for marketplaces, not just for marketplaces, for retailers as well, but this is a marketplace session, so I'm talking about marketplaces and the relevance, and if they will keep their relevance. So I think they will raise the bar, because what marketplaces that are already successful now already have is structured, reliable product data, is real-time availability information, is delivery promises that are absolutely trustworthy, differentiated assortments, and a machine-ready information structure. So if platforms already have all that, they are actually well set for the agentic age, I think. If they don't, then they will lose relevance more quickly than they already are at the moment. So what I think we could be seeing in the future because of agentic commerce is not the death of marketplaces, but a consolidation, because neither agentic nor, to be honest, any of you need 200 and more platforms in Europe. So I think the conclusion to my talk might be agentic commerce needs marketplaces, but not all of them. Where does this leave us? At the moment, it is very hard to make an educated guess on which marketplaces will survive the agentic wave and which won't. But what I will do is I will take up the idea of AI readiness into the KPIs for our marketplace quadrants. And I will weed out our quadrants heavily to just show you those marketplaces that we think are not just relevant for your products now, but will also stay relevant as soon as the agents are coming. And if you don't want to miss that, maybe consider subscribing to our newsletter, and then you will always be up to date. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
My question is around the moat that marketplaces still have against agentic AI. We've seen with Amazon that they block out generic AI, but they have their own. Do you see a convergence of marketplace-owned AI against agentic, or will agentic eventually take over?
That is a very good question. But I mean, have you been trying out Rufus at all?
It's trash.
Absolutely. And this is actually where my answer is going. At the moment, whatever marketplaces are doing with their AI is just not up to par. And as long as it's not up to par, people won't use it. So the question is here, can Amazon shut out ChatGPT and everyone else as long as it takes for the consumer to grudgingly then take Rufus and say, yeah, well, if there's nothing better around, I will take Rufus. I doubt it. What I think will happen is that Amazon will find some kind of agreement with the agentic agents, maybe some paid APIs, whatever, some way of coexistence. But personally, I don't believe a lot in Rufus, but that's just my personal opinion that is not backed up by any data.
All right, thank you so much.
We have another question over here.
My question is regarding advertising. If agentic AI gets advertising now, you know, ChatGPT announced it, how will it be effective in social media channel and marketplaces? Because now agentic AI also will use advertising. So
Yes.
also this advertising, how will affect for customers to find correct or trustful products?
That's a very good question. I can't answer the social part because this is not my expertise. But if we go from what is ChatGPT doing at the moment, they have opened their platforms for advertisement. But it is important to know that this advertisement doesn't appear inside the normal search engine products that ChatGPT gives out to you if you give it a prompt. So it's somewhere off to the side. It's very hidden. I don't actually think it's going to have a lot of impact because it has very low visibility. So let's see if it stays there. At the moment it's there, but we have to also consider that OpenAI is looking heavily for financial programs for whatever it's offering because they are in high debt. So let's see, everything open here. When it comes to But I think what you were aiming for was retail media. Is that still working in the future of agentic AI? And actually, this is a question that I can't really answer because the problem is the question here is how much of the e-commerce turnover will move to the agent. The agent won't look at retail media. It won't look at ads. It will look for information on a product. It will find it somewhere and it will offer its user a possibility to buy that. So retail media on Amazon or elsewhere would be obsolete for these users that are going for agentic AI. But as I said at the beginning, I don't believe that the full e-commerce will move over to agentic. This answer is too simple. We have seen that in the past that new trends normally affect a part of the consumer base, but not all of them. So your retail media on Amazon might be used less to 20 to 30% of the user base because they enter Amazon's or any other marketplace through agentic agent. But the rest is still there and surfing by themselves. So, and for the rest of those human users, retail media will stay very relevant.